And moving on to Sony's weird, very weird conference. They were like in a tent or a church or something. I don't know what it was, but it was weird. Everyone looked like they were roasting, like they didn't have any air conditioning. They had some guy play a banjo. Cool. You know, and then they showed Last of Us 2, which looked awesome. And I think we're getting that game next year because the gameplay looked pretty good and it looked very polished. So I think that's a game we're getting next year. That's just my hypothesis on it. And then they decided, oh, we got to move to another venue. So that's what they did, and there was this awkward transition in between that. They moved the camera to these people on a panel, and they were just kind of talking for no reason. And then they showed some Call of Duty and Destiny stuff, which was awesome. I liked. I hate that every year Sony gives Destiny and Call of Duty a bunch of stage time, because it's who cares about this special map pack coming out for the PS4 edition that's only going to be there for a month, and then it's going to go over to PC and Xbox. No one really cares. I always felt like it wasted their time, and I like that Sony this year was just like, oh yeah, here's the Destiny and Call of Duty stuff, now let's move on to our stuff. I thought that was awesome, because I hate when they come out and it's just like, oh wow, we're going to spend 30 minutes talking about Call of Duty, even though it's on the other systems. You know, it's like I felt like they devoted too much time to it. Just show the trailer, cool, and it shows like the little special, oh, get it on PS4, you get it like a month earlier, or whatever the content is. That's cool, and then you jump straight into your next exclusive game, which is kind of what they did. But that little transition period really broke up the presentation, and it just was very jarring. And then they shoot to this guy playing a flute for like 6 minutes, and it was just really stupid, to be honest. It sucked. And then they showed Ghost of Tsushima. That game looked pretty cool, looked beautiful. It definitely looked beautiful, and that might be a game we get next year because it looked pretty well polished too. It looked like it had a lot going for it. And then they just hit us with some awesome trailers. At that point, that's when the show got good. The show was complete shit up to that point. Yeah, you showed us Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, but honestly, the show was just dragging. But that's when they just started hitting us with trailer after trailer after trailer. Resident Evil Remake, it's a thing. It's coming to all platforms, but it got its world premiere on PlayStation stage. I will say this, though, for anyone who's interested in this, PlayStation 4 is probably the best place to play the Resident Evil series, because literally the PS4 has every Resident Evil game. They have, of course, the HD remakes of 4, 5, and 6. They have the remakes of Resident Evil 0 and the Resident Evil remake. HD remake? It's a remake? I don't know. They have that. They have Code Veronica on their digital store. The only games they currently don't have is RE2, which they're getting at the beginning of next year, and RE3. But besides that, every major Resident Evil game is on the console. Also, both Resident Evil Revelations and Revelations 2. So I would argue that that is the place to play the Resident Evil games. You can play it all on one console. But yeah, they showed that. They showed Control, which is from Remedy. It's going to also be on Xbox. It looks like it's Quantum Break 2, except instead of using the Quantum Break license, they decided to make a game with a different name, but that thing looks like Quantum Break. That looks like Quantum Break. So I'm going to call it Quantum Break 2, you know. What else? Finally, the last thing they showed was Death Stranding. Weird game, and that game is... They showed a little bit of gameplay, but that game is way off from being complete. We are not seeing Death Stranding next year. We'll probably see it at E3, probably see it at PlayStation Experience, but I think Death Stranding is going to be a cross-gen game, and what I mean by that is PS4 and PS5. what they showed us. Oh, also, almost forgot, before Death Stranding, Spider-Man. Looked awesome. Can't wait for it. That's coming out the end of this year. So, awesome. But no, back to Death Stranding. Yeah, that weird game. And the gameplay they showed looked very lacking to me. It looked like it still had a long way to go. Not saying that it looked bad. I'm just saying from what I could tell, this game isn't going to be done by next year. It's going to be probably 2020 or 2021. So this game is a ways off still. From what I saw, maybe I'm wrong and there's more to it, but from what they showed us, it still looks incomplete. It still looks like they have a lot to put in there. And that wasn't saying it looked bad per se, it just looked very empty, the gameplay elements I saw. So I was like, they probably still have to put a bunch of more stuff in here, polish it up, really kind of fully flesh it out. So it wasn't that it was bad, it was just that I could tell it seemed unfinished. So yeah, that will be my prediction, by the way. Again, another conference where you really got the feeling that we're prepping for the next generation of consoles, because everything they showed didn't really have a release date except for like Resident Evil Remake, of course, and Spider-Man. I don't think I saw a date for Last of Us or Ghost of Shiitake Mushrooms or Death Stranding. So I think PlayStation is getting ready for PS5. So I think, and I'm going to make my prediction right now, you guys can make it in the comment section below, but I think we're getting Days Gone next year and Last of Us 2. And then the year after that, we're going to get Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. Or some mixture of those. Maybe we get Ghost of Shiitake Mushrooms and we get Days Gone next year, and then Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding the year after that. Either one, but I think that's how they're going to do it. I think they're going to have a big exclusive release at the beginning of next year and at the end of next year, and wash and repeat for 2020, where you have a big game at the beginning and a big game at the end. I don't know the exact, that's what I said probably isn't going to be the exact order, but I think that's how it's going to go. I think of these 4 games that have not been released yet, we know Spider-Man's coming at the end of this year, but those other 4 exclusives, I think 2 are going to be next year, and 2 are going to be for the year after next. And then you're going to have the PS5, and whatever they decide to release for that. All in all, Sony almost had a really bad conference, but at the end they brought it back with just hitting us with trailer after trailer. I would say their conference was as good as Xbox's. They had more exclusives to show than Xbox did as far as what's coming out this year. So yeah, it was decent. It was decent.